you Whichever manner you feel most comfortable. Thank you. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Right. Thank you again to everyone who is joining us tonight. Before we move through the agenda, I want to quickly go through registration information and rules and standards for public meetings. We welcome everyone, and Council's goal is to make the meetings a place where people feel safe and comfortable participating in their government. We invite everyone to help us make this a welcoming space. A respectful and safe environment allows us to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient way. Our most basic rule is that any action that causes a disruption to our ability to conduct the meeting or any safety concerns involving threats or unprotected speech are not allowed. These actions or comments may result in removal from the meeting. As a reminder for our public comment registration process, individuals may register to comment on scheduled public hearing items up until the hearing is closed. For the general comment section, we will accept signups until 7:30 p.m. The general comment section is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and will only include commenters who register before 7:30. So if you are here to give general comments, please sign up and remember that it may not be possible for everyone who signed up to speak, depending on the number of interested individuals. That brings us to item A4 for approval. I am seeking a motion.
Move for approval.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the work session meeting minutes of December 10th, 2024, January 21st, 2025, until the formal meeting minutes of January 21st, 2025, and February 4th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. That passes unanimously. We are now to item A5. The council will consider adopting a joint ceremonial resolution with Mayor Mendenhall recognizing April 2nd, 2025 as Start by Believing Day in Salt Lake City. I will turn the time over to Councilmember Petro to read the resolution.
A joint resolution recognizing April 2nd, 2025 as Start by Believing Day in Salt Lake City. Whereas Salt Lake City shares a critical concern for victims of sexual violence and intimate partner violence and a desire to support their needs for justice and healing. And whereas sexual assault, rape, child sexual abuse, and domestic violence are of epidemic proportions, 1 in 3 Utah women experience sexual assault and/or domestic violence in their lifetimes, and 1 in 7 Utah children experience child sexual abuse. And whereas current estimates suggest that a significant amount of sexual assaults are not reported to law enforcement, with a small number reported resulting in the conviction and incarceration of the perpetrator. And whereas research documents that victims are far more likely to disclose their sexual assault to a friend or family member, and when these loved ones respond with doubt, shame, or blame, victims suffer additional negative effects on their physical and psychological well-being. And whereas the Start by Believing public awareness campaign, a program of End Violence Against Women International, is designed to improve the responses of friends, family members, and community professionals to help victims access supportive resources and engage with the criminal justice system. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Salt Lake City Council and Mayor of Salt Lake City officially designate April 2nd, 2025, along with the first Wednesday of April each year as Start by Believing Day.
Thank you, Councilmember Petro. I'll look for a motion.
Chair, motion, so moved.
Move to approve them.
Move to approve the resolution. Thank you.
Second.
Excellent. It's been moved by Councilmember Lopez Chavez and seconded by Councilmember Wharton. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent. That passes unanimously. I'd like to recognize Dr. Valentine, thank you, with representatives from the Utah Coalition Against Sexual Assault, and Liz Chavez Diaz and Carlos Palestina with students from Youth City Government. Thank you for being here today to receive the resolution. Please feel free to come forward and introduce yourself using the microphone at the dais, and you're welcome to introduce members of your group and make a few remarks.
Thank you. Hello, my name is Dr. Julie Valentine, and I want to thank you for this resolution. Start by Believing Day represents a culture shift that Utah desperately needs. We have to decrease sexual violence, child sexual abuse, intimate partner violence, and we believe that this public awareness campaign, we're launching a 3-year statewide campaign, that this is the approach that truly will make a difference. I want to thank the youth that are here representing, and I'll have our representatives from UCASA step forward and introduce themselves.
Thank you, Dr. Valentine. My name is Bethany, and I'm here with Melissa from the Utah Coalition Against Sexual Assault. We're supporting this just because we've seen the difference it makes in survivors' lives and in victims' lives to have people respond with that belief. And there are lots of community resources, and we always just want to remind people that there are rape crisis centers and the statewide helpline that UCASA hosts that can connect people with help and that will start by believing them.
Excellent. Thank you for your advocacy. If you just want to step up here, we'll provide you a copy of the resolution and a photo with council and the mayor.
Oh, sorry.
All right, thank you. So this brings us to the public hearing section of our agenda. These are specific proposals before the council that require a public hearing. So just to differentiate, this is not the general public comment section. These are specific to proposals that we have in items that are being considered for approval and adoption by the council this evening. As a friendly reminder, our meeting rules apply to the hearing comments as well. Please avoid disruptions or threats, as we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling to the council. They are not creating a safe and respectful environment. To sign up to comment on any of the hearing items, please register online or turn in a comment card to the in-person staff that's available over by the door. We accept signups until the hearing item is closed. We will be calling the names in order of sign-up. If you're on Zoom, please unmute your mic when your name is called. Each person will have 2 minutes. Please raise your hand in the room or on Zoom for staff assistance. If you are having technical issues in Zoom, our staff member Daffodil can assist you. If you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you're unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for the council, please notify council staff who will assist you in distributing. All right, that brings us to our first public hearing on item B1, a resolution for the creation of the Public Infrastructure District. Before we begin taking comments, I will turn the time over to Jennifer Bruno, Council Executive Director, to give a short introduction.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a procedural step required by state law that governs the Public Infrastructure District creation process. This is the first public infrastructure district that the city has considered creating, and it would facilitate financing for the renovations of the Delta Center, Entertainment District, and renovations of the Salt Palace, Abravanel, and Umoka.
Excellent, thank you, Jennifer. Taylor, please start with our first public comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 2 people registered to speak to this item. The first will be Lori White, followed by Mercedes Smith. Lori, you may now unmute.
Thank you, council members. My name is Lori White, and I'm a resident of Salt Lake City District 5. SB 26, a bill slightly shorter than Remembrance of Things Past, enables the creation of 2 interrelated entities, the Convention Center PID and the Convention Center Reinvestment Zone, or CCRZ. The bill sets in place a funding mechanism for the CCRZ using tax increment revenue. Does the PID board control the allocations to the CCRZ? The county mayor reviews use of funds. What is the city's role? In the committee hearings and floor discussion, it was stated 3 times that this bill would provide funding for the Salt Palace, Abravanel Hall, and Umoka. I firmly advocate for these allocations. It was also stated twice that, quote, this bill does not allow any public funds to be used for private development activity. Having read the bill closely and now the PID governing document, I'm not sure this is the case and would appreciate further clarifications. According to the bill and the governing document, the PID can use this revenue to finance public and privately owned improvements. It can be used for private development if the PID board determines it provides substantial benefit. I am confused as to why the majority membership of the board of a public infrastructure district is comprised of representatives of a private company. Also, under what circumstances might the city or county choose to abdicate their singular representative positions on this board? Can the CCRZ be approved without this PID? See line 5576. Is the preliminary estimate of improvements referred to in the PID governing document available? The governing document defines these improvements as public or private. Is it possible to see this breakdown? Finally, many of these PID documents have been available for under 24 hours. Is it possible to have an additional public hearing? I feel the public should be able to voice informed opinions with time to consider materials carefully. Thank you for your time and consideration.
And next will be Mercedes Smith. Mercedes, you may now unmute.
I'm actually going to pass. Thank you. That's all.
That was the final registered commenter.
Okay, thank you for the comment. I will look for a motion on this item.
Madam Chair, I move that we close the public hearing and move the item to a future agenda item.
Do I have a second? Thank you. So the item's been moved by Councilmember Dugan and seconded by Councilmember Pui. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent. That passes unanimously. All right, moving forward, we have no potential action items. And so that brings us to our opportunity to speak with the mayor. So Mayor, is it true that you have a 2.5-hour presentation for us on how Salt Lake City is amazing? April Fools. Okay, so any questions for the mayor? None? All right. Thank you for being here. We appreciate it. All right, we are now to the general comment portion of the agenda. This is for the public to comment on the city business not scheduled for a public hearing. This section is limited to a maximum of 1 hour and only those individuals who are registered to speak before 7:30 p.m. Our meeting rules apply to these general comments. Please avoid disruptions or threats, or we will ask a staff member to assist you out of the meeting. Also, a reminder, comments that include profanity, personal attacks, intimidation, or discriminatory language are not persuasive or compelling to the council. They are not helpful to create a respectful or safe environment. To sign up to comment on any of these items or for general comment, please register online or turn in a comment card to the in-person staff. We accept signups until 7:30. We'll be calling names in order of the sign up. If you're on Zoom, reminder to please unmute when your mic when your name is called. Each person will have 2 minutes. Please raise your hand in the room or on Zoom for assistance. As a reminder, the amazing staff member Davidel is available to help you. To help make sure that as many people as possible can speak during the hour, anyone in person should feel free to come up and stand in line when you hear your name called, ready before the dais and the microphone. If you reach the 2-minute mark, the host will announce time and your microphone will be muted. If you are unable to finish your comment, please share the rest via email, mail, or call our office. Contact information is listed at slccouncil.com. If you have a handout for the council, again, please notify council staff who can assist you. Taylor, you can begin with our first general comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The first will be Katie Dwyer, followed by Margaret Holloway, and then Karina McClellan. Katie is here in person.
Thank you, Council, for the opportunity to speak tonight. As mentioned, I'm Katie Dwyer. I'm Wasatch Community Gardens Executive Director. WCG has requested $40,000 in CDBG funds to cover wages for our farm-based job training program for women facing or experiencing homelessness. I'm here to advocate on behalf of the program tonight, as I understand the Council is not currently planning to recommend us for any CDBG funding. Our job training program, known as the Green Team, a few alumni are actually here tonight, centers around providing paid work and case management for 16 women on the farm annually. That said, the full picture is that the program and the work of these women touches thousands of people across Salt Lake City and tackles the urgent issue of food insecurity in ways that no other program in the city does. All of the produce grown at our new city farm by our Green Team members is donated to low-income families lacking food access via our community partners. In other words, every bit of produce grown at the farm is donated back into the community. The Green Team grows and harvests over $60,000 of healthy produce every year. This nutrient-dense food is distributed to more than 2,000 Salt Lake City community members through WCG programming. To drive home our story further, on any given year, more than 40% of the Utah population served in shelters has received food from our farm and grown by our Green Team. According to the Utah Food Bank, 12% of Utahns are food insecure. Grocery store prices are increasing, while federal funding for local food is being canceled. Without the food supply generated by WCG's Green Team, Salt Lake City will lose a critical source for healthy food. WCG offers growing space, garden and food education, and healthy food distribution to local shelters and other partners, and we are the only broad-scale garden-to-mouth nonprofit in Salt Lake. We recognize that CDBG is definitely a competitive process and it's a tough decision, and we thank you for considering our request.
Next will be Margaret Holloway, followed by Karina McClellan, and then Carrie Allred. Margaret's here in person.
Hi. I want to thank you guys for locking up the river today. And I heard that the Emerald Ribbon was going to be starting up. Don't know quite when, but it's exciting. And also for the time for the trains, to know when, if we need to turn around over there on the west. Appreciate that, because now we know it's going to be 10 minutes, 4 minutes, 3 minutes, turn around or not. That's going to help out a lot. The survey, I wanted to bring up some things about the survey I didn't get a chance to last week. The survey questions that were asked of us over at Fair Park and Rose Park, they asked what can help. And all the millions of dollars that have been spent on these bike lanes. The gentleman says, I can't even ride the bike lanes because there's so much trash in it, glass. And he said he just want to pop a tire. And they reported on my SLC, and they said, well, no, we have to know an exact spot. So there's got to be a way to send these street sweepers out there to sweep it up a little bit more often, especially when you spend all this money on these bike lanes that can't use them. And also, when the gentleman, I'm not quite sure his name, but he kind of laughed at us when we were trying to, can we not have parking like they have in the avenues where they have registered parking for the people in Fair Park because they get enough cars parking behind in their driveways and they cannot go for activities at the fairgrounds. And I understand the fairground doesn't like that, but all those elderly people over there can't get into their homes. They complain. They said, well, can we fix this? And the guy says, well, no, it's street parking. I said, well, it's not like that the rest of the city. And why should it, you know, we have little tiny homes over there, so why can't we have the same things as the rest of the city? These are some of the little things that we brought up that they dismissed. Well, we're only after the big things. And I said, well, I still want benches in the parks. And he just kind of laughed, and he's like, well, you know, that's something we may not want to do because it might encourage other people. And I said, well, then nobody else can use the park. Elderly, disabled, people with small children. Nobody can use the parks because you're afraid someone might sit down. And, but I understand these surveys are supposed to get questions, but when they dismiss, when people ask specific things, can we trim the trees back to have better lighting? Could we have a little bit brighter lights? Can we have lights over at the pickleball court over at Rosewood? Not really bright lights, but just some.
Time. Next will be Karina McClellan, followed by Carrie Allred, and then Angela Morgan. Karina's here in person.
Hi there, my name is Karina McClellan. I'm with Ability Inclusion Services. We are a nonprofit organization that serves adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities in the Salt Lake area. And I am here to share our services with the council and the community, as well as invite you to an upcoming fundraising event. Hopefully you all received my handout. Just want to tell you about our services. We have a community day program that offers an artistic creative arts where participants can express themselves through painting and mixed media crafts. We have an indoor and outdoor adaptive fitness center staffed by an exercise specialist to support health and wellness. And we also have a library and sensory room offering a quiet space for those moments when we need to find calm. In our gym, we hold dance classes, we sing karaoke, we play Wii Sports and enjoy basketball. We have several program rooms when we work on dexterity, textiles, and fine motor skills. We have a large focus on community inclusion, ensuring that our individuals are engaging with the community, socializing, and participating in various activities. Since people with disabilities often experience isolation and depression, we make a concentrated effort to be out and about, visiting places like parks, zoos, museums, and more to help build those relationships and foster social connections. We also offer residential services that provide support with daily living skills, grocery shopping, community engagement, as well as financial and medical case management. We strive to create an environment that is vibrant and engaging and supportive. We are hosting our second annual Spring Fling fundraising gala event on April 24th, and we would like to invite the council, city officials, and community members to this special event where we will come together to support individuals with disabilities. Come and enjoy a night of formal dining, silent auctions, and inspiring moments. I will also be offering tours for anyone who is interested in seeing our program in action. And I'd love to have some council or city representation, and I've brought 2 free tickets.
Time. Next will be Carrie Allred, followed by Angela Morgan, and then Jason Wessel. Carrie is here in person.
Hi, I'm Carrie Allred. I am a graduate of the Wasatch Community Gardens Job Training Program. I have a lot to say about this. This program is so important for women coming out of like domestic violence situations, like say drug rehabilitation, just any like where you need to heal and you have a lot of trauma. This place, working at the garden, being there for this job training program was not only teaching me job skills, but it really brought me kind of back to reality and was able to start functioning in society like I was supposed to, because how I ended up there was I graduated at House of Hope, went right into the job training program. And there this is nervous, but we'd really appreciate the money. We do so many different things. We reach out, like Katie said, there's so much food, and it's not only food, it's community. It really is. We have such an awesome team there. Everybody, you don't have to worry about when you go into this program, it's perfect. You don't have to worry about being judged. You can be who you are. Your love for just being you, just being human. And that's such a vital thing for growth and like healing. Plus, we get some delicious food out there into the community. We really need this program, and every bit helps. There's so many ladies that like the program has helped from going, like I went from 30 years of addiction, 30 years, straight out of treatment, straight into this program, and I have 5 years clean. So House of Hope and Wasatch.
Time. Next will be Angela Morgan, followed by Jason Wessel, and then Jackie Rodabaugh. Angela's here in person.
All right. First, I'd like to thank all of the West Side community members who actually showed up to this meeting. I really appreciate your presence. To the mayor, I have this to say. After significant outcry, the city made the decision to close a small section of the Jordan River Trail. It took many years of public outcry and several recent news stories to get this done. However, this merely transferred the drugs and criminal activity to the Cottonwood Dog Park. Our neighborhoods deserve long-term solutions from our city leaders. You seem quick to hand over parts of the city to billionaires and raise sales taxes to fund an entertainment district. You even gave away the Pantages Theater to a Texas developer who made empty promises of grandeur, leaving us with nothing but an empty asphalt lot. These examples highlight how swiftly the mayor and city council can act. They routinely approved rezoning amendments for developers like Smith Entertainment Group, Boyer Company, Salt Development, and Lotus Development. Just last week, the mayor encouraged the use of eminent domain to the state for a proposed 1,300-bed homeless shelter, further shifting responsibility for the homeless issue. Allowing the state to determine where a shelter will be located is, in my opinion, a serious misstep by the mayor. If the mayor and city council can move with such urgency to accommodate developers, why can't you apply that same quick action to address the needs of our homeless neighbors and ensure the safety of city residents who must confront the crime and drugs that often accompany the population? You must work for solutions of homelessness, drugs, and crime that prioritize the well-being of all community members, not just cater to the rich businessmen and developers. Oh, and that vacant space where the Pantages Theater once stood, that might be a good place to look at having a designated camping.
Time. Next will be Jason Wessel, followed by Jackie Rodabaugh, and then Kevin Park. Jason is here in person.
All right, I don't even have to move. This is great. I'm speaking on behalf of the West Side Coalition that I'm a vice president of, and this is also about the Jordan River Trail being closed down. I think the majority of the people in the West Side communities know what the problems are and are very supportive of any efforts to address that. However, the way that this happened in the last 24 hours is a bit disappointing. Last summer, when a section of the trail was closed down, in Fair Park. There was a lot of community engagement, a lot of information was provided. That didn't happen with this section. The first that a lot of people in our neighborhood found out about the trail being closed was while trying to access the public space while walking their dogs, either yesterday or this morning. There was no community information provided. We didn't know about it, and we don't know what information to forward to people. So there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of misinformation going around. If you look at some of the social media posts, some people think that the city has sold it to private developers. Others think that it's closed permanently. So what I'd like to ask is that there be a better effort with community engagement. If we had some talking points that we could be providing to people to have the actual facts and the information, that would have been much appreciated. And I think there would be a lot less irate people in Rose Park and Fair Park today. And with that, I will end my time and let Kevin speak directly to the Rose Park concerns.
Next will be Jackie Rodabaugh, followed by Kevin Park, and then Evan Rufert. Jackie's here in person.
Well, I'm the Job Training Program Director at Wasatch Community Gardens. I'm here today because we've requested CDBG funds to help support wages for our job training program participants. These are women currently facing or experiencing homelessness, and I'd like to use my time to share the why. Participants, called our Green Team, are challenged to learn, grow, and rediscover their favorite parts of themselves, even when circumstances outside of the farm gates are incredibly complicated. Job and life skills are built hands-on at the farm, creating a special environment where women can try new things without fear or judgment. They are also responsible for ensuring that thousands of families and children have access to nutritious food. In addition to the 16 women that this program employs annually, the Farmily is a 100+ strong network of women alumni that both offer and receive continued connection and support. The Farmily is one of our greatest resources. Through riding public transit, attending classes, and participating in street outreach programs, alumni become teachers, leaders, and friends to many, often referring other folks to resources that have supported them. The extended Farmily includes partners with shared values like the Other Side Academy, service providers like caseworkers at Geraldine E. King and navigators at Salt Lake City Public Library, and support services like the Wiggins Center's employment specialist. We also work with volunteers who are experts in their field and are excited to share knowledge and act as a bridge. This program is unique in so many ways, including the opportunity to access an on-site case manager with a realistic caseload. This vital role exists to advocate for team members in Farmily, as well as support our overworked case managers and other ways of the city. We recognize that funding is really slim right now, but we work towards prioritizing sustainable changes in wraparound services. To end with a quote from a previous Green Team member, "This will change your life and it will change your thoughts on how life can be for you in the future. My whole direction is totally turned around. I thought I was going to have to be..."
Next will be Kevin Park, followed by Evan Rufert, and then Shannon Jones. Kevin is here in person.
My name is Kevin Park. I am the chair of the Rose Park Community Council and a member of the West Side Coalition. As I see what has happened to the Jordan River Trail and Riverside Park, my heart is broken and I'm angry at what has become of these areas. The park where my family played and watched my kids play baseball games is now covered in small pieces of foil, needles, clothing, and garbage. We no longer feel safe in these areas that once brought so much joy. I realize that the city is not solely responsible for these conditions. Rather, it is a result of failed leadership at all levels of government and a lack of consideration for the people of the West Side. This has been a problem for generations, but more recently with Operation Rio Grande, which drove the unhoused and the drug dealers out of downtown to the West Side with no viable plan. My neighbors in Fair Park and in North Temple have been discussing the hellscape conditions that exist there for many years. Now that we are cleaning up North Temple to develop the power district, the problem has moved north. I appreciate the recent efforts of the police department in closing down part of the trail. It is certainly a start, but it is little more than a Band-Aid approach. We were shocked last month when we learned that a bike squad that had been promised to patrol the trail had been reassigned to downtown. Residents of the West Side deserve the same respect and consideration that those in more affluent areas of the city and state receive. We need a plan, something more than whack-a-mole. Any shelter that is built is at least a year away. Where are the in-hows supposed to go during that time? My family has lived in Rose Park for over 25 years. I love my neighbors and I love my community. But last night, as my wife and I drove past a man shooting up on Riverside Drive, we had to ask ourselves, is this what we want our grandkids to experience when they come to visit? Thank you.
Next will be Evan Rufert, followed by Shannon Jones, and then Teresa Hoag. Evan, you may now unmute.
Hi, Council. I just wanted to talk about a rather mundane matter. As Salt Lake City continues to grow over the next several decades, I would like to see the City Council prevent the city from turning into a traffic jam, as many other cities on the West Coast have, as they've grown their populations. And with that, I was hoping that with things such as Mayor Mendenhall's Green Loop and the upcoming revitalization of downtown through the Smith Entertainment Group and such projects, I was hoping that we could have traffic cameras on every street corner, so that way it could alleviate the flow of traffic and better project traffic flows as some of the street corners already have. Additionally, I'm hoping that this will be able to track crime better. As working at a law firm, I know that tracking some of these crimes are a little hard when there's no cameras, as it's just one person's word versus another. So I'm hoping it will also improve public safety. Thank you.
Next will be Shannon Jones, followed by Teresa Hoag, and then Bernie Hurt. Shannon, you may now unmute.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank the Salt Lake City Council for the the opportunity to speak at this council meeting as a resident of Salt Lake City from District 3. I'm Shannon Jones, and I'm a researcher at the University of Utah in the Department of Nutrition and Integrative Physiology, as well as the executive director of the Center for Community Nutrition, though tonight I'm speaking on my personal behalf and not behalf of the university. Urban farm-based programs that train and employ people experiencing homelessness while providing free organic produce to community members are exceptionally rare in the United States. Salt Lake City is one of the very few places in the nation that has such a program, which is the Green Team program run by Wasatch Community Gardens. I've been fortunate enough to collaborate with colleagues from the Green Team for more than 8 years. In response to community identified needs, along with academic colleagues and colleagues from the Green Team, we received funding for a National Science Foundation Civic Innovation Challenge Planning Grant, which brought together the expertise of people experiencing homelessness, civic, and academic partners. As far as I'm aware, it's the only grant ever funded by the National Science Foundation that recognize experts with lived experience of homelessness as full research co-investigators by this nationally recognized and internationally respected science institute. While service delivery systems for people experiencing homelessness are often not integrated across agencies and programming, the Green Team is able to do this on top of the thousands of produce shares that it provides for free to low-income residents. I ask the Salt Lake City Council to please continue to fund this innovative, unique, nationally beneficial program. Thank you.
And next will be Teresa Hoag, followed by Bernie Hart. Teresa's here in person.
Thank you for the opportunity to talk. I'm from the Wasatch Community Gardens Green Team as well. I moved to the shelter here just a few blocks away about 6 years ago, and I was eating out of the 7-Eleven for real. And then I saw the Green Team poster on the wall, and I started a job there, and I got a plot, and I'm now able to feed my family fresh produce strictly because of them. I also, have experienced domestic violence and addiction and was almost homeless. And they were able to get me back into the job and helped me get back on my feet so that I could sustain and my entire family. Thank you.
And next will be Bernie Hart.
My name is Bernie Hart, and we have a problem. We've had a problem forever and ever and ever and ever. And the problem is not homelessness. The problem is ignorance. There are three kinds of ignorance. One is we pretend everything is okay, and we don't acknowledge our problems, and we just go on trucking down the road and pretending and smiling. And the second type is we acknowledge we have a problem, and we start searching for answers, but then we pretend the answers we have are working, even though we don't have any information or data that says they do, because pretending makes us comfortable. And as politicians, it's important that you feel that the public thinks you have the answers that they need. But this has been going on forever and ever and ever and ever. And it is time you stop pretending you have an answer and start looking for real solutions. Good ignorance is when you acknowledge you don't know. Not knowing is okay. Not acknowledging you don't know is not. Acknowledging you don't know and searching for answers is a helpful tool and needed to find solutions to problems. You are not finding solutions because you're not even looking. Thank you.
And that was the final register commentary.
Thank you, Taylor, and thank you to everyone for coming tonight to share your comments. Moving.
Chair.
Pardon me. Yes.
Madam Chair, thank you. Will you allow me a personal privilege moment?
I fully support you, Councilmember Poi. Go ahead.
Thank you. There's two things I wanted to acknowledge. The funds that we are discussing today, they are distributed to cities by the federal government. One of the few direct funding sources to municipalities to be distributed to organizations that do good work in our cities. And that's the CBDG funding that we distribute every year. And it is a very competitive process. And all of the organizations that apply, do their best, and we know that they can use the funding. There is a lot more funding requests out there than funding available from the federal government to us, and we pass it to the organizations that do that work in our city. And we have created in Salt Lake City an advisory board of neighbors that reviews those applications and scores them and tries to make sense, create a rubric to guide us and guide the administration and divvying up those funds. And it's a hard process because all of the organizations could use all of the money and more so. And it's a challenge. And it puts us in a very awkward place too, right? Because we're sort of choosing some versus another when we know that all of the organizations, if we have unlimited funds, we will give it to you. So I just wanted to put that caveat in there that ultimately we get to finalize the decision. It may come to a decision of moving funding from another organization that could potentially use it too for good work, much like the one presented today, or there may be other opportunities there. But thank you for coming in. Thank you for showing up and highlighting the work that you do and how it impacted you and impacted your community. It really was even enlightening to see a little more of that. And the second thing I wanted to say, sorry about my very small moment of privilege here, is that, I wanted to highlight that, the work that the administration is doing right now starting to implement the public safety plan, and that I saw all your administration team working nonstop to come up with that plan at the beginning of the year that the state requested us to put together. And not only your team met the deadline, but just came up with a plan that would acknowledge our part of the bargain as far as the public safety issue, but all of the other pieces of the system that are not working like they should. Thank you for highlighting that and for giving us a direction on how to try to tackle this problem that is hard. It's hard to solve. Salt Lake City alone cannot solve the problem. But it doesn't mean that we have nothing to do about it. So I'm very thankful for that plan. I think that the actions taken on the Jordan River are part of the solution. And again, that's not the ideal solution, right? No one wants the river to be, the parkway to be closed, but we need to act strongly to remove the problems that are entrenched in the area. And our neighbors are very frustrated, and rightly so. But there is many people that are hiding in between those that need help. I'm thankful for the direction on this. I appreciate your administration and the emphasis on the actions. And I know that that's not the only action you are taking. That there are more coming. That it may seem they may seem disconnected, but there is a lot of things coming down. So I'm looking forward to supporting you in this next budget to make sure that we can bring back those memories that many of us had in the Jordan River. So thank you.
Chair, point of personal privilege.
Please, Councilmember Petro.
I want to acknowledge my neighbors who are here. And I want to acknowledge the rightful anger that you have. Like you, my children cannot enjoy the river trail. My 8-year-old son on Wednesday night, with the rest of his baseball team, witnessed open-air drug usage and dealing. Those are true, they're incontrovertible, and they're not things we should experience and witness when we are the working class backbone of not just the city, but the state, and we deserve to live in dignity. I want to acknowledge the other truth that I hold in tension with that, which is that at 10 o'clock at night, I texted the mayor and the chief of police, and they already had a plan to respond to it. And not only did they respond to me at an ungodly hour after we'd already had quite the day, but have gone above and beyond on everything I've asked for. Now, I agree with you. I ran for this office because I was watching what was happening to our home. And oftentimes when I come to community council and I look you in the eyes, it's a pain to me because I can't look you in the eye and say things have gotten better, despite doing everything. Mr. Bernie is not wrong. I have thrown everything at the wall I can to think of to move this needle. I also saw this in Washington, D.C. when I went. And so while I'm not absolving us, I know there's a nationwide movement. But what I'm really worried about, and what I need the rest of the districts to hear, is that we are the canary in the coal mine. I'm not going to get into political philosophy. I'm not going to care about who you voted for. I'm not going to care what kind of flag you fly outside of your house. But what we're seeing is a federal government that's saying it's not our responsibility. I was a young person in my career when I was told about deinstitutionalization. And what's happened? Our streets are the de facto mental health treatment. Our jails are the de facto mental health treatment because we decided that we no longer needed to be our brother's keeper and we needed to stop that. We have a state that paid more attention to pride flags and bike lanes than to the homelessness crisis, despite the fact that they have a statutory responsibility to create a health and human services strategy that is then enacted programmatically at the level of the 29 counties, and your municipality should be the public safety backstop when people are a danger to themselves and others. So your police force that you fund, your parks that you fund, those are all doing not double duty, but triple duty for 3 levels of government. Friends, we only have each other to rely on. So I'm going to make space for your anger. You are allowed to be on the phone with me until whatever ungodly hour you need to, expressing your anger. It is not wrong, it is well earned, and it should be acknowledged. But when I tell you that the hours that you are angry about are being matched by the hours here to find solutions, I'm really optimistic. I threw some spaghetti at the wall with the mayor, and I kind of expected her to be like, Victoria, get real. And she's pursuing things that I didn't expect we would have the audacity to pursue. And thank you for being audacious with me and even trying it. And we can't say it because there's always something. We'll let you in as soon as we can, I swear to you. But here's the thing, we have each other. We are the closest level of government to you. I've been yelled at for things that Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't do. I've been yelled at for things that the mayor hasn't done. I've been yelled at for things that the police have done. I get that I am the closest level of government to you, and I will happily stand there. But we're the canary in the coal mine. We're the first to experience what happens when other levels of government say we're no longer investing in the social safety net. We need to take heed of this. This is coming. We are the first to feel it, but then we were the first to feel the amplification of the COVID pandemic as well. We are always the cutting edge when difficult times come. The only thing I know more than that your anger is well earned is that your resilience and compassion are well documented. And I know that over the summer we'll grow food together and we'll eat together. We will strategize how to reclaim that trail together. We will not tolerate and be okay with criminality and with those who come in and take advantage of the vulnerable because of unchecked homelessness. But I commit to you, protecting those who need us to find solutions is what my time is dedicated to. And I have to vouch and say that the administration has been incredibly responsive. I'm going to reiterate to my constituents the invitation to join me for small groups with the administration, with our federal delegation, and for budget. I want you to be heard. I understand your anger. It is rightfully earned. I'm going to give you avenues to be heard. Thank you all for being here tonight. I know it's another job, and I know almost all of you work multiple jobs. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Petro. I'd like to take the chair's prerogative to offer an opportunity to Mayor Mendenhall to respond. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I know we've passed the time for questions to the mayor, but Councilmember Pui, I appreciate you addressing me and the public safety plan and the work that we're trying to put in to solving that which has never really been solved. But what's happening on the Jordan River Trail and on North Temple is why we have the public safety plan. The public safety plan focuses on exactly the population that is the epicentric focus of the problem on North Temple and Jordan River Trail, which is not necessarily a homelessness issue. And what is happening right now on the trail involves people who are housed in many, many cases, who have repeat misdemeanor cases, which the jail is not holding on most of the time. This is what the public safety plan is all about. The bed unavailability, the impacts of JRI that I believe are unintentional and that result in people not having criminal justice consequences for these repeat misdemeanor offenses and not coming to a place of stability and sobriety where they can accept or even really consider accepting the kind of services that some of the providers who come here for CDBG dollars are offering. It is not a broken system. It was built this way. It was built to leave out the people who are creating the biggest impact on our communities. And it is not okay. We are all losing sleep over this. It is not okay. And Chief Red, bless his heart, came in here eyes wide open, seeing what is happening, and is ambitiously tackling this with the department who is best equipped to tackle this in the state of Utah. Do we have all of the answers? No, we never do. But are we ever going to stop? No. No, we never stop. And we mess up and we try again. And we listen to the community and we try that. That's what we're doing. So the public safety plan, yes, there's some answers in there. Yes, it calls out our partners. Yes, we need jail beds. And we need a different ability to prosecute individuals who need that kind of accountability, in particular, what we're seeing on Jordan River Trail and North Temple. So thank you, council members, for having these conversations and being curious at every single turn. We have very limited resources, but I think we have the greatest creative minds in the neighborhoods. So thank you for giving me a moment to respond to you, Councilmember Pui and Madam Chair.
Thank you. And I appreciate the additional follow-up from the council members as well as the mayor to address some of the topics we heard tonight. Moving forward, it looks like we have no new business items, and so we are now at unfinished business item F1 for an ordinance related to the Central Business Improvement Area, CBIA-25. I'll look for a motion.
Chair, I move that the council accept and adopt the findings and recommendations of the Board of Equalization for the Central Business Improvement Assessment Area, CBIA 25. I further move that the council adopt an ordinance confirming the equalized assessment list, levying the assessment and related matters.
Second.
Thank you. I have a motion from Councilmember Lopez Chavez and seconded by Councilmember Petro. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, that passes unanimously. For our final item, we have F2, which is a resolution for the confirmation of ranked choice voting for 2025 municipal election and interlocal agreement. I'll look for a motion.
Madam Chair, I move that the council approve a resolution for an election service interlocal cooperation agreement between Salt Lake City and Salt Lake County for the 2025 municipal general election.
Second.
Madam Chair,
yes.
may I comment very briefly? There's some changes in Utah law coming down the pipe, and I would like every voter in our city to know those changes are coming down the pipe. They're not implemented immediately, but they are not the changes I wish they were happening. Regarding vote by mail and regarding the process of how that all works. And in our part of town, in the west side, we struggle sometimes getting the word out about voting and participating for multiple reasons. I think those changes are going to be impacting our communities negatively. So I wanted to highlight it for the community while we approve this funding.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion that was moved by Councilmember Wharton and seconded by Councilmember Dugan. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, passes unanimously. That brings us to the consent portion of our agenda. I will look for a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Councilmember Petro, seconded by Councilmember Lopez Chavez. All those in favor?
Aye.
Excellent, and moves unanimously. That concludes our Salt Lake City Council meeting. The council meeting is now stands formally adjourned.